welcome. What we're going to be showing you today is how to build a site on the platform that is Weebly and Square. So many of you probably already have the Square app for your phone. I just realized I got a new iPhone 11, and so I can't actually use the credit card swiper from Square in my phone anymore because it doesn't have the jack. So I'm going to have to upgrade that at a point that we can do shows in person. But what's really cool is, so Weebly and Square have partnered together, which means that they have a much more comprehensive website so that you can have it not just look like a store, not just be a website, it's a full website that you can have. What is even more cool is that the online store connects to the phone app. So once we are in person selling things, all of that inventory will be synced, which means that you don't have to worry about having products up online. If you're doing a lot of shows, you can still have that presence. And if something sells in a show, it will just say sold out online and vice versa. So that's really exciting, I think. It also connects products to your social media posts. So if you feature an item on Instagram, they have it's like a product tag, and so somebody can kind of click a button at the bottom and it'll go right to the product so that they could purchase it directly as a link from your social media post. So that's really cool also. And then just to note, these are the two websites. So squareup.com is where you'll go in to have your account for Square, but square.online is where you go to manage your online store. So those are the basics. The first thing to really think about when you're designing your store, and many of you probably already have a website, so you've got a lot of this, but now you're going to need to tweak it. If you're going to be selling your work online, you're going to have extra pages that you might want to have. So the basic elements to your website, you're going to have a navigation menu. You're going to have the footer links at the bottom, which you may or may not have already, but they have that feature on here. A home page, and then your category pages with your different products. So we've got a few examples of what you might put in the different navigations. It's really good to have your policies for a store. Are you taking returns? When can people expect to get the work? Things like that. Frequently asked questions, care, social media icons. They have an option to have a mailing list, and we'll go over it in, I think, the next session about MailChimp, but that's a great way to get people can sign up right from the website onto the mailing list. And so I am going to jump in now and show you what this looks like. So let's see. So as you can see here, this is when you go to Square Online, this is the back. And if you just go to website, edit site, this is what the platform will look like. So I don't know if you all have questions. I can't see the chat because I'm trying to show you my screen. I can't see any, even myself, so it's kind of awkward. But we can try to get to questions later, or Lakota, if you guys put them in the chat, and then if something seems really pertinent to answer now, Lakota will call it out. So in the back office here, it is so easy to create a website. Right here is where your standard any pages, anywhere to add pages. So I right now have a shop with my products. I have an about page. And then there's different category pages as you make your categories. And then every item does have a page. So you can go in and check. When you format the item page, it will update all of them. And you can even have a blog if you'd like. You can also add pages this way. You can add anything here, add an item, add a section, add a page. So it's really easy to navigate. For example, on the about page, it here, once you're in here, it has these sections. So I put in a section about my work. I put in a section here. When you add a section, you just pick one of these or pick one of these. It's so easy, and there's really a lot to play around with. So we're not going to put featured items on this, but it's making me add something so I can get back. So the other things on the page, and we can access them, I think, through anywhere, but let's go back to the home page here. So your header, and your header is going to then show you where your navigation is. This is all customizable. You go in here, you can move your pages around, you can add your navigation, add your pages. It's all right here. So this is nested. If you drag it in, it pops up underneath. So that now if we went to preview, you would see under here, shop wall pieces. And we'll go back to editing the site. The footer at the bottom has all these different things. You could put in your logo, you could add a navigation, you could add your social media icons. So any information that you want down here, you can, again, customize your navigation to have it different. We'll go back to the home page here. The home page is where everybody's going to land first. So they've got what you could do on here. You might put in featured items. They've even got where you could add a video. So I will show you a fantastic example of this. Let's see. Clara, one of our, oh, this is the wrong. That is the, oh, it's up here. So Clara has on her homepage, and she did this in Weebly, so I think it's pretty much the same. So when you go onto her page here, she has this fantastic video that she welcomes everyone. It's just 45 minutes, so we should watch it because I think it's great.
A collage of designs based on my multicultural Trinbagonian heritage, punctuated by years of experience as a textile designer, printmaker, silk artist, and teacher. These self-painted pieces may be worn or hung as home decor. Hope to hear from you soon. Do enjoy.
So I think that's a fantastic example of welcoming people to your site. We have a couple other examples here as well, just to get your ideas flowing and understand this in practicality. Jira is also using this platform, and she has a lot of information here. So she's got featured items, she's got her Instagram. So there's just, it's very inviting when there's a lot to see, I think, at the beginning. And then back to the technical stuff. Let's see, we've got to get back. So bear with me here. We can cancel. When we go into shop, so shop, and then this is where your products are. So these are all customizable. You can just click on a section. Again, there's so much to see, how you want to organize it and all of that. What else do I want to talk about here? Lakota, help me out. What else do we need to show everyone, or does anybody have questions?
The phone's ringing. Hold on.
We can come.
I have a question.
Yes.
I started playing around with this platform, and I'm not seeing my editing quite the way you are. I'm wondering, how do you add the items for the shop? I tried to do that, and I got categories, but I didn't get the items to be active yet.
So that one, and I have a video here to show you from your phone. So maybe can just hop over to the next slide. So that would be under like all of the formatting. So when you add categories and products, there's a couple different ways that you can format both the categories and then also your items. So you can add individual products from your desktop or phone, which is really convenient because if you're taking photos in your phone, you can just upload them right on there. And then you can also decide how you want to list your products. If you want to list them individually, list them as single items with variants. So this is a video of how to do it on your phone, and then I will show you in the desktop right now. So what's really cool is all of this information, it's all synced, right? So you can do it from your phone, you can do it from your desktop. And it's really easy. So if you have some information, but then you want to upload a photo later, you can edit it. If you want to upload your photo and then you realize on your desktop that you don't like how your photo looks, you can change it. So it all just works seamlessly, which I find super convenient.
Is this the same thing as adding an item into your library?
Yes.
Square?
Yeah.
Brianne, I have a
Yes.
question about the photographs. I know that the pixel sizes are 15 to 2000 and 72 DPIs, but I don't understand how that then relates to file size. Does the file size for these pictures need to be under a certain level?
Well, that's an interesting question because one of the phone apps that we're going to show you, it has, I think the resolution is 800 pixels. And we use it on our online store, and it's really great when you need to quickly photograph a lot of variations. But it doesn't necessarily zoom quite as much. So you might want to combine that with like your main photo being a higher resolution. So that's just what we recommend if you want people, if you want to be able to zoom in really close up and see everything.
Okay.
So if I hop back over to, let's see if I can get this wrong. This is what happens because I'm jumping between screens. Okay. So back over here to add the item, as you were asking, I think that was Sheila.
Yes.
You just add item right there. And you fill it out the information the same way.
If it's already in my library, you mean I have to add it again this way? I can't just.
No, it's in there. So when you go over to, like, let's say, here's a collection. So I have a collection of necklaces. If I want to add to the collection, you can just say arrange and add items. And then I think this will. That goes into that one item. Hold on.
Are there tutorials through Square or through Weebly that show you how to do this as well?
Yeah. To be honest, what I'm showing you is I have a Wix website right now, and I did the Square shop a while ago because it was like, oh, here's this free shop, and I haven't, it goes to a new website. And what I wanted to do is put everything on a single site. So I am trying to do this just like all of you by this deadline because I'm one of the exhibiting artists as well. And so when I started exploring this, I realized, okay, I can set up a whole website with this. And I've just gone into it a little bit. So I'm sharing with you what I've learned so far. And some of this is from chats with people, but I don't even know, like I'm still playing around. I'm still doing it all. I just figured, oh, if I'm already doing this, I have information that now I can share with all of you, and maybe this will be helpful for other people so that you all can have websites as well. So that's why it's a little bit of a learning curve, I think, for everyone. Like here, I know that you can, to add more items, I'm not exactly sure. Like, is this, I think this is where you do it. So if you say edit category and choose. So I can now pick what other items I want to put into this category.
How did you get categories onto your bar on the left? That's what I'm not seeing on mine. When I set it up, they had a template. So I just kind of manipulated their template. And there was a shop now button, which is fine. You know, that I guess is the navigation bar. But when I go to that to add items, that's where it doesn't seem to be listing any categories. Although I do have the category, but I can't bring the library item into it, at least not yet. And that's where I'm not seeing it sync. And I'm hoping that there are tutorials through Square that will show how to do that.
So I'm not sure if this is what you're asking, but when you go up here, this shows you all of your pages to add or to edit. And if you say add category, you can add a new category page.
Okay.
Is that what you're looking for?
Well, from the page, I see home page, and I guess that's, oh, I see. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so it's like up at the top here is where you access all of your pages.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So what's really neat, one of the things I did want to show you with the customizing all this is you can decide, for example, you know, how you want to name it. If you want to sort, you can turn this off and then people can't sort. If you want to have sort, people can shop and go price to low, alphabetical, things like that. And then you can also customize how the images are. So if you read here, like more information, it shows you about having your images swap so that when you hover over, see here, like it kind of fades, here it swaps, here it zooms in, here it shows the price over it. So there's a lot to explore in all of these sections. So you can really, like I said, customize it. You don't have to, right? It looks great as it is, but you can really easily customize, and there's a lot to just play around with. And like I said, you can do, you know, this stuff I probably do from a computer, but you can do a lot from your phone as well.
How are you integrating this with your current website?
Well, I'm going to actually move my entire website to this. So right now I'm just building this. I actually have to build it because literally what I showed you is just, okay, here I'm playing with samples. And then I will replace my website with it when it's ready to launch. What something is weird, glitchy with mine where it just has the old shop, and I had a different domain name. I'm not sure if we talked about domain names yet, but you can put a custom domain name for these sites. You can purchase one if you don't have one right through them, or you can migrate yours over, and they can help you with all of that in the chat.
It takes about 7 days to get it to migrate over. That's just a heads up. If you already have
No, it shouldn't do that.
mine,
Really?
I have it in GoDaddy, and I talked to the people over at Webly, and they can see that. And it's been 5 days.
I'm making a note of that because
Oh, it could take.
was not expecting that. I think it's usually like 48 or 72 hours, but
I just wanted to tell
yeah,
you.
thank you for that.
Brianne, we have a question from Joanne that I'm just not sure the answer to. So Joanne, if you'd like to unmute yourself, you can ask it, or I can just read your question from the chat, either way. I guess I can read her question from the chat. So she's wondering if, first of all, if Square is free. And she also has a website hosted for free but she had to put a buy now PayPal button for each individual item, and there's
Oh,
no
yes.
cart. So each item has to be purchased individually, so she can only have one image per item. So she's wondering if Square can be added to an existing website without changing the hosting, and how much that would cost if so.
So you can't add it to the website. You could keep your current website and just do the shop page like I do right now. And I can pull up my website and show you that. But I'm not sure, maybe somebody else has more updated information. When I started my online store, it was free because I already had a Square account, and I'm not currently paying anything for my online store. When I switched my entire website over, I know that there were different plans and they were giving me some really good deal. So I think I'm getting where I can have like their logo removed and stuff for like $72 a year. But I think it's, you can have a site, I want to say it's like $9 a month for the full website. I don't know if they also have a free option that just has more branding on it. I don't know if anybody else can answer that question.
I just purchased the Weebly, okay, Weebly. I mean, I have Square when I'm doing a physical sale, and that's why I went to Weebly, because it's part of Square, and it cost me $144. I still haven't figured out if that's everything. I think that's all inclusive for me to have the site.
I'm
Yeah,
looking
so I
right
think
now.
that-
I'm looking right now at their upgrade my site, and there's 3 different levels. There's professional, which is $12 a month.
That's the 144.
Yeah, that looks like it's publishing to a custom domain using custom fonts and no Square branding.
Sheila,
ads.
can you put that web page in the chat and I can pull it up here for everyone to see?
Okay. Let me put the link in there.
Yeah,
Well,
that'd be great.
it's, let's see, I'm not sure I can because I'm looking at it on my iPad, but if you go to your Square, where you do your website, that page, that active page.
Upgrade. Yeah, see the upgrade,
Yeah,
that's
go
what
to
I didn't
that.
know if it's misleading.
It is, because there was no way that I could get a free site.
Yeah, because what they told me, and I have the note somewhere else, not here right now, I don't think. But I was gonna get some deal for like $72 for the year. Oh, here, I do have it here.
It's the month, Brienne. It's $72 a month.
No, the one that they told me was, no, it's not that one. It was like, cause there was like $312 a year, $144 a year, right? So this one is $312.
Yeah.
But then there was another, like I'm getting some kind of promo. I don't know what it is.
Oh.
So I am sorry that I don't have more of that information, but I will tell you that like my Wix site, I probably pay about this, and that's without e-commerce, and it was going to cost even more to add e-commerce. So to me, I think that for $12 a month, like that, to have an e-commerce site is a really good price. Even so,
I do too.
yeah. Joanne, to answer your question, your site would probably be similar to mine right now. So this is just a regular website. I've got work up on it. And then what I do is I go to the shop link, and then that pulls up this old Square site that I don't know how or where, because I can't seem to edit it or change it or anything. But I do it that way. And so that's not unsimilar to connecting to an Etsy site or something, on an external site, and that might be a good option for you. But you can't put these products in directly onto the site. You'd have to have 2 separate sites. So we can spend a couple more minutes if anybody has questions on the Weebly website, and then we can hop into photos for the other half of the session. So do we have other questions? Let me bring that back up. Is there anything anybody wants to see how to customize in here? Good. I'll show you some other examples. These are some of our exhibitors. I know Tommy, I don't know if he's on here now, but I told him about this a couple weeks ago, and I said, tune in, we're gonna have a session where we're gonna go through it. And he just looked into it and he thought, wow, this is really easy. I'm gonna build my site. So I know he wants to tweak things on here, but he already put it together. So it's just a really nice, clean, easy presentation. He's got, you know, shop all. You can have a shop now button. You can have a search. So he's got his categories here. And then he's got all of his work.
How does he get all the pictures the same size?
They all default to a square. Or maybe I could be wrong about that. They might like brick them. I recommend just doing square images. I think it's the easiest. Then your images are ready to upload on Instagram if you want. When you're on your phone editing, you can just select the proportion and make it a square. So that is the easiest, cleanest way to do it. I know we have like a variety on our gallery store. And I would recommend that. I think hers also look like they are square. Yeah, so as you can see that the advantage to the square is that everything lines up. It's just a really easy, clean look.
I'm noticing that there are things that say on sale. If you sold something, does it indicate sold as well?
I believe so. Because I think even on my site, which I think I've closed it. But yeah, usually it will say sold out. And I don't know, I'm sure somewhere in here you can customize that. It might be under, that's prices, titles. They generally always tell you, like, usually if they have the option to put something on sale, then it will say on sale on a site and it will tell you that it's sold out. It's just what the question is how it says sold out.
And if you don't
you know what, let me see if I can add an item that I don't have in stock. Because if
you don't upgrade and use the free version of this, what is the domain? I mean, how do people find it?
I think it's just a square.com / your name. Let me see if I preview here, does it tell you? Like it might be like one of these really long. It probably tells you there's a whole section, which I would recommend. SEO.
Yes.
I don't know if you're familiar with that. I've come across it. I'm just not sure. I think it's view page settings. So here you go. I mean, for me, I have this custom one in right now. So
yeah.
You would be able to see what yours is if you go to that page setting, which is the gear right here.
Okay, thank you.
And then it shows you like your search engine. So I've got to actually add all this information in from my other website. This is really good to do. So make sure if no other page, make sure that you do this on the home page, because then you'll show up in the search engines when people search for your website.
I see what it is. It seems to be your name.square.site/whatever page.
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up because I neglected to tell you how important SEO is and filling out that information. So definitely check that out. Well, if that is all for the website, we can move on to photos. I did have, let's see, one other example here, just about content. You know, really think there's how you want to organize your website, how you want to do your pages, how you want to group your work. That one is for me the hardest right now with my specific work, but it's going to be different for everyone. And then how do you want to sell your products? So it isn't just images that are going to sell the work. It's also how you describe it, what information you can provide for people. The more information you can provide, I think the more comfortable people are purchasing the work. So if they just go on, you know, I do it all the time. I'll go on even like a professional gallery. I'll go on their website and I will see, you know, a ceramic bowl and there's no information about it. I don't know what size it is. I don't know what it's made of, but it's $55. I'm not going to buy it. I need more information so that I'm confident in my purchase. And so this is one in particular I thought was a really nice example because we put in a description, which we actually took from the artist's Etsy site. And so she's talking about, you know, how you can use this dish, what it's made from. It's got dimensions. It's got some handling, you know, dishwasher, microwave safe. One of the things that you say a lot on our website when we have an image that is not the actual product. So for example, if I have a production line of earrings and I have one in the photograph, but my jewelry is made to order. First of all, I would say item made to order typically ships in 2 to 3 weeks. And then I would also probably put in language along the lines of that the image is a representation only. So there are subtle variations in size, shape, or color. And that will all be, again, you tweak that specifically for your work. But that lets people know that they shouldn't expect to get the exact piece that you're sending. If you are sending that exact piece, obviously you don't need to put that. We didn't put it in this because we have 3 bowls available in 3 different colors. And so we just photographed those bowls. So I think that that's really good information to put in. Again, the more you can put in, I think the more that, you know, using language that's going to upsell it. Suddenly somebody realizes, oh, I could use this for soup and ice cream. Well, gee, that sounds like it's going to be a really functional bowl. I'm gonna buy it. So I think that that's really good practice. So I think we'll jump into photos. So we're going to talk about a couple things with photos. We are kind of going through everything so that you can use your phone or your digital camera. If you have a digital camera, great. We end up, even for the gallery, we shoot a lot of work and we end up using our phones a lot. Lakota and I both have iPhones and they have great cameras. And so it's just really fast. When we, you know, if we have a $2,000 vase that we want to put up, we're probably going to spend the time to get out the camera, to do the detail shots, to do the really professional photo shoot. But if we're putting up a style of earrings by an artist and they have 10 different colors available, we're probably just going to shoot them with our phone so that we can get it up. And then we can go back in later and really fine tune those photos if they don't, if a couple don't seem great or something didn't photograph great. But I know many of you probably don't have a digital camera and you don't want to have to pay a professional photographer and you want to be able to easily get your products up online. So this is for you because, again, you know, showing you how to just take good photos with your phone. We're also going to talk about lighting. We recommend using a photo tent, natural light. We'll show you how to do it yourself. We'll give some examples of image content and then we can show you some editing. So to start, setup and lighting. So whether you're shooting indoors or outdoors, you want to limit your shadows. direct sunlight is going to give you very strong shadows, whereas, you know, on a cloudy day, it's probably better. You don't want it to be too dark out. I was trying to do some photos this morning on my deck. I'm looking out there right now and I can see that the sun is really bright. So that same location probably will not work now, but it did 2 hours ago. If you do indoor lighting and you're not doing a photo tent, you want to always have cross lighting, which is lighting from both sides. If you're shooting like photos on a wall, you want to have them at a 45-degree angle. But if you know, if you really want a dramatic photo, you might want to use a single light source and have a very strong shadow. But if you want to limit your shadows to really focus on the product and have even lighting, you're going to want to light from both sides. I think it's a great investment to buy a photo tent. And I will show you, or I can pull it up now. There, if you don't know what a photo tent is, if you search on Amazon for a tabletop photo tent, there are so many different options. When we got ours for the gallery, probably almost 10 years ago, it was probably the first one that showed up. It's not even here. There's a lot of different, less expensive ones. So I'm looking through and I thought, I'll just show everybody, because I'm like, gee, maybe I should get one of these for myself, you know, at my house, because they're really affordable. There's a lot of different kinds. Some come with lights with them, but you can use them indoors or outdoors, and they're really great about diffusing the light. So use them indoors or outdoors. But what is so important is that even when you light on both sides, because of that material, it diffuses the light. So it just gives it a nice, soft, even, consistent lighting. You still do get shadows if your lights are very close, but it's better than just trying to like set things up on a table. They come with backdrops. You can also get a gradient backdrop. I will show you an example of that in the next slide. We just order one for photographing that's as close to the size to fit in the tent, and then we cut it down. And they do get scratches eventually, and then you have to learn how to Photoshop them, which I'll show you. But that is a really professional background. And then in addition to that, you can make your own lights. I actually have made my own lights. I will show you them, and I will show you some of the, I have a tripod and a camera. I probably should stop my screen share and just, let's see. So you guys, can you all see me right now, or
Yes.
put it in speaker view maybe? And I'll just show you what I use at home. Somebody gave me a tutorial on how to build your own lights. So I took lampshades, I put, used hot glue and put aluminum foil on top. I took some muslin and put Velcro on it for the diffuser. And it works really well. I shoot, you know, I now have jewelry, but originally I just, well, that's not my painting, it's my grandmother's, but I do wall art, so I needed really big lighting to do at those 45-degree angles. And so we found a tutorial on Instructables. I had a stand that was made of PVC pipe. So it was a super DIY, cost me, you know, $20 to do it. And then over the years I've upgraded. I actually went on to like B&H Photo and bought this mat to much more easily move it. Not that expensive, also worth it because it just clamps right in here. And then I invested in some of these stands. And so I got 2 of these, and I have definitely gotten my money's worth because I then bought what is a bike mount for your phone. So I could use this as a tripod for my phone, and I just clip it in. And so if you want to take videos when you're working, I will probably use this for the Hopin craft fair so that I can have a video here. I could have another video on my computer. This costs $6. You know, these are probably, you can buy them pretty inexpensively. There's different levels, but it just then here you can see it just, the light clips right onto it. So, you know, I started out super DIY and then have upgraded a little bit. Another tool that is really great that someone just gave me is this. This is all different parts, and you can buy them. I think he probably got them on like Amazon. This is a tripod, and it just screws right in to this telescopic like boom, and then this clamps right on, and this is a phone holder, and so you can rotate it. So again, you could use a tripod stand for your phone. It travels. We actually took this on a hike the other day so that we could get a whole family photo. You know, we just unscrewed it. So it probably isn't that expensive. I didn't purchase it directly, so I'm sorry that I can't provide you more information about it. But if you go on Amazon, I'm sure you can find all of these parts. So these are great tools that I use myself. So I wanted to show you them. And now we can go back. I'll share my screen again. Let's see. So this is what we use at the gallery. We sometimes put lighting on either side. I think one of our lights is currently broken, so we've just been using daylight, and it's been working for us. Now that we usually have this set up in a closet, but since our exhibition gallery has been closed, we've just been able to use this space. So we have it set up, and like I said, this gradient that we have here, we just bought from like B&H Photo is a professional photography supply. You know, they have all the equipment and everything. Sometimes you can find them on Amazon. It can be a little bit pricey, probably between $40 and $75 for one of these, and then you would just cut it to size. But it really makes the work look professional. I think one thing that's really good and easy is like a white backdrop, and we'll show you a little bit on how to do that. But this is a really professional setup. What we use for jewelry, we built this little frame, and we just clip on fishing line, and then I'll show you how you can remove things like that later in Photoshop. But those are some of the tools that we use. When you're thinking about what kind of images you want to put on your website for your products, depending on your work, some of these may or may not be appropriate, but obviously, you know, a professional looking image of the piece, maybe how it's being used. So sometimes people like show mugs. They might, you know, if you have ceramics, you might have a bowl of fruit or a hand showing the size. If you have clothing, you might show the scarf being worn on a person or on a mannequin. Here, Bree is wearing the earring to really show you the scale. You might want detail images if you really want to highlight some of those wonderful aspects that are really going to sell your work close up. And then your variants, sometimes it's really nice to show a grouping. So if you've got you know, a cup in 4 different colors, you might want to have a shot of them together. Or you know, sometimes like masses of things look really good, so you might have, like, even if they're all the same cup, you might stack 4 of them together to just encourage people that you don't just need one of these, buy a whole set. You know, here's 6 of them together, doesn't that look great, and you want to buy it. So those are the kinds of photos that I would take. And then editing, there's a lot to do with editing, but editing will really make your photos, and it's really not that hard. It just takes a little practice. So if you're editing on your phone, most, I know on an iPhone, you know, you just go right into the photo and you click edit, and they have, I just got an iPhone 11, which it is worth the upgrade. The camera on it is incredible, and they have all of this different photo editing from, you know, cropping, your exposure, your brightness, your black point, all these little things, and you can make your photos look awesome. So I'm sure that other phones have that too, so you can do it right in the app. And then there's other apps, which will show you, like Scratch Photo, which is the one that I talked about that makes a white background. It does take a little bit of practice. I just saw Lakota had some great shots of mugs that she has on there. Maybe Lakota, you could put like a link to one of those pages with, and I could pull it up with John Rankin's mugs, I think you just did. I tried to shoot something outside. It's a little hard with the shadow. Sometimes that shows up. So it definitely takes practice, but it's really cool. It'll remove the photo right away. And I do have a video I will show you. And then Photoshop, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Photoshop. It's really easy to use if you want to do some basic editing, and you can get a plan for $10 a month that is Lightroom and Photoshop. It's the photographer plan. If you're going to be taking a lot of photos, or you want to make I don't know, other graphics and things, I think that it's well worth the investment. I use it a lot. I have an account for my personal work as well as the gallery. It's something that I've just always had, and I think for, you know, it's $120 a year. I think that it's worth it. I use it a lot. And then what do you edit? So you do want to take good photos. You do want to have good lighting, but your photos don't have to be perfect, and they don't have to be at the level that a professional will take. If they're a little, chances are usually the photos come out a little too dark. You're also better off with a darker photo than a photo that's too light, because you can brighten it and lighten it. So what are the different things that you're going to do to edit? You're going to crop. You might change the exposure, the levels, or the highlights and shadows. Those are the darkest and lightest. I meant to say light points. The brightness, the contrast, the saturation. So we'll go over all of this, but here's an example of a photo that was taken in the tent with pretty good lighting. So there's no strong shadows. It's a nice even photo, but here it's been cropped. It's been brightened, the contrast so that it pops. People don't realize there's always, when you brighten, or like you're doing the saturation, it's the little tweaking that just makes the work pop. So here it is, and it looks okay, and it's a depiction of it, but this makes you want to buy it. And I once had a debate. I had somebody working with me in the gallery, and he was a professionally trained photographer. And he took all these photos in daylight. And so they were all not inaccurate depictions of the work, but they just didn't pop. They just didn't have that oomph. And I was trying to explain to him what they were missing. And we had this really big debate about it. But I think then he finally understood. It's like, what it is that it's not that you're trying to lie about the image, but when somebody sees an object in person, it's not just, they're not looking at a flat object. So they've got this more full sensual experience where they're touching it, they see it in the round, they're just having this more intimate like interaction with it. And so what I use word I can in the photos is that you really want to convey that impression that the work makes when you're seeing it in person. So that's almost more important than how accurate of a depiction it is. You don't want to, again, fake it and make something look like work that you don't have, but you just, again, want to enhance it so that it just has that oomph. So this should show you the idea of the Scratch Photos app, and then I'll open Photoshop and show you. So this is on my phone. It's called Scratch Photos. You can do a camera in it. Let me just pause for 1 second, because the one thing about it is they do have a camera, but I think that it's better to edit your photo first like in your photo app, because if you edit it after, once it's put like a white background or something, it might inaccurately edit. So I think that it's good to do it first, but you could tweak it after. And I think it also might save as a ping, which is a transparent background. So it might not affect it quite as much. But this is how it is. You literally just put it in, you click the button, and it removes it and it saves it. You can put any background on it. It's great. But you do have to have, it has to work with certain images. It doesn't work with everything, because even here you can see, like here, there's like a little blemish because there was a shadow here that it removed. So we can jump in to Photoshop. Does anybody have questions pertaining to the PowerPoint at this point? Are you all ready to take photos, or are you afraid to take photos? One website I wanted to show you, and Claire is with us, I'll show you her site again, because I saw her site and I loved it, but as I went through, I said the photos could be a little brighter, and I asked her to send me some photos so that I could show you what I'm talking about. So when you come on here, I love this presentation. This is really professional. I love how she's presenting the scarves and how they're cropped. The ties, you can see the background. So she probably shot it on a white background, but because the photo is dark, it turns up gray. And when you look at some of these scarves, they're just missing that little bit of pop. So that is what we're trying to capture when we edit our photos. And that is what can really just make it so much better. So so here we go. So here we have a photo. So in Photoshop, but again, if you're on your phone and you go to edit, you will find many of these adjustments. Brightness, contrast. Now these are two separate, they're one button here, they are two separate ones, as I'll show you. But they're separate, like on an iPhone. Levels, which on the iPhone would be like your black, they've got shadows, highlights, they've got a black point, they've got a white point. They actually have even more, there's just so many different adjustments you could make. Vibrancy will pop it a little bit, or your saturation. I don't know if anybody on this call makes wood-fired ceramics, but wood-fired ceramics are notorious for being like photographing dull. I always pop the saturation on a wood-fired ceramic. If I'm shooting silver work that's just plain sterling silver and has no color, I probably will desaturate it, because it tends, your photo, unless you have a perfect photo, it's gonna be a little yellow or a little blue, and you really wanna make it more of that silver tone. So I actually just remove the saturation a little. But you'll be amazed, you know, again, this is all practice and playing around. So I moved through this really fast because I've been doing this a long time. But just start playing with your photos, and you know, make duplicates and put your photo up next to each other and upload it on your website and see how the same photo looks, or you know, the same image edited 3 different ways looks on your website, to just start to get an idea. So with this photo, and this is, I would do a higher quality photo. It is a little low quality, but as you can see here, she's got a lot of darks. And so you really lose. I can just barely see that there are 2 different colors here. There's like a darker blue making marks, and then there's a lighter tone underneath. So I would probably just lighten the exposure just a little bit. But once you lighten it, then you're gonna start to lose that pop, right? You're gonna start to lose that contrast. So I might wanna go in, sometimes you can do it with brightness contrast, and sometimes you actually want to go into the levels. So the levels are going to move your darkness. this end would move your lightness to just kind of pop it. And then if I go in here and I might, again, bump that contrast.
Brianne, what version of Photoshop are you using?
Creative Cloud, which I think is the only version that they have now, but it probably looks different than your computer because it's for Mac.
Oh,
And the
Lisa. No, Lisa was wondering in the chat.
Oh,
So I just
okay.
wanted to ask on your behalf.
Yeah, so here I'm just, you can see with the contrast, if you pop it. Now, I obviously don't want to do too much because I'm going to lose that detail. And that's where a higher quality photograph would just get you a little bit further. But this already, I think, looks a little punchier than on the web page.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see here, it's just a little bit brighter. And then this would be ready to put into that app to remove the background. So if you wanted to do, let me minimize that. There.
There's a pork chop in the fridge.
Whoever's seen that pork chop sounds good.
Oh, I'm sorry. You heard that?
Yeah, I don't know who that is because I can't see the screen, but your microphone's on.
I thought I was on mute.
So there's different ways to remove a background, and I can show them to you now, but to be honest, you're much better off getting a YouTube tutorial where you can really like be in there. This is how I've learned to do this. You put the tutorial on, you watch a little step, you hit pause, you try it yourself, and you keep doing that. There's somebody, our graphic designer just showed me how to do it with a vector base where you would highlight. And if any of you, I know some of you have gotten these tutorial, you can have like a 1 hour session with me. I only have so much availability, but if this is something that you try and you're having a hard time on YouTube and you really want to learn this, I could show you this one-on-one with your photos. But it's a little probably too technical to get into right now. But the basic idea is like, I can probably just do this one. Just deselect. Let me go back up. I haven't tried that yet, but you kind of just select out your white. And again, this is a very rough version. I would actually go in and maybe zoom in closer and see if I should adjust this. You know, here I've just selected that by accident. So I'm going to take that out. But the way that I do it is I get a really good selection. I then select the inverse. I go to select and mask, and Photoshop recently changed this window. I like the old one, so I know a little trick, and I hit shift while I click that to get my window that I like to see. And then you refine your edge. So you're gonna kind of smooth it and soften it, and you might feather it, and that's just softening the edge. And as you can see here, now I've got a white background.
Yeah.
Now, that's probably a little, and again, the higher resolution photo, more higher res, you can get a crisper, cleaner amount. But it's just like you kind of just adjust these until you have something that looks good for you. And then you hit OK. This is was a backdrop. So like, if I go back and select the inverse, you'll see that I could delete that, and I'll have a nice clean backdrop if I put a white. So this is like the super fast version, but it's not that hard to put a white backdrop on with some practice. So I think that a white backdrop, it makes your website more seamless. It makes the products really pop. You know, even at how she has these crop, that's great because you're just seeing the work. You're not seeing a backdrop. So a lot of times, and I don't know that I have an example up, or I don't want to pick anybody out, but even I think she had it on one of her pieces she wanted to show the light and shadow. I'm not sure where it was. You know, this works, right? Because she's showing it in a setting. This one, she wanted to show the shadow, so she did that. But as you go through, you know, she's keeping the shadow. That's a little harder and more advanced to do. But it really just has a nice professional look. I also want to show you this really cool tool if you've got some blemishes or things that you want to move. There's two different tools. There's the clone stamp and then the patch tool. So the clone stamp, if you were going to shoot this on, let's say, fishing line, we need to remove this line. So what that would do is if I just select right above it, I can just move this and literally remove the line. And then if it showed, if you wanted to smooth your background, you would do what's this patch tool. And it kind of, you just highlight an area and it just blends it very slightly. So I don't know, I might be able to remove this whole area, but sometimes like on our photo tent, we have a lot of like dings on it. And so we go in and we remove scratches. There you go. I just removed that. And then one of the other things that we do, not unsimilar to highlighting the background, is we smooth out the background. So sometimes this looks really grainy, or like, let's say that I wanted to make this larger. This is another trick. If you want to make your images square, let's say I'm going to make this one a rectangle, but if I wanted to make it just a little bit wider, I would take my background and stretch it. But then usually, this is small, I should have made it like a lot larger. I then want to smooth it over. So I'm going to go up and there's a filter called blur. Under blur, I go to smart blur. And we always maximize it. And these are all the tricks that Lakota and I do when we put up our products online. And probably some of your photos, when I did your photos for the Hop-In, I did this on a bunch of people's photos. So if your photo looks a little different without the gradient, that's why I probably went in and photoshopped it. So it's just a little bit smoother. It's probably hard for you to see, and this is not a great example, but it's just a little bit smoother. So I think that is all that I have to show you in editing. And we're just over 1 o'clock, so I don't know if anybody has questions before we go. I kind of ran through a lot of things, and I hope it excites you and not overwhelms you. But what I wanted you to see is that you can all learn how to do this. I have now, you know, it's probably taken me, this is stuff I've been doing, at least like with the Photoshop, for probably the last 10 years with the online store, but I'm all self-taught from, you know, looking at YouTube and just getting practice. So you can all do it if you want to. I really, truly believe that. Does anybody have questions?
Thank you for doing this.
Yes.
You're
thank you.
welcome.
Thank you very much.
We'll have another session next week with social media and some of the little tricks, connecting accounts, and
Yes.
also like good practice for promotion. I've learned a lot. We work with our graphics consultant, Social Impact Studios in Philadelphia had a fantastic program that I've been through that was funded by Dodge, where it's all about like promotions and learning tools and things. And so I've really learned a lot, and I would like to share some of that with you to help you. You know, for example, I had like the 4 a.m. got to put this note for next time. Yesterday we had a presentation, a panel discussion that was at 2 p.m. and I think we had prior to yesterday at 10 or 11 in the morning, about 20 registrations. I put together a constant contact that we sent out to the mailing list, maybe around 11 o'clock. We had then increased another 40. I think we had over 60 registrations by 2 o'clock, and we had 55 people turn out for the event. So it's all those little things. You know, if I didn't send out that email, we would have had 15 people. You know, we were promoting it on social media too, and I think that helped, but it's all those little, you know, we always worry about, like, are we in people's faces too much? No, people have to see things. It used to be 7 to 11 times before they would act, and now it's like 13 to 23. So there is so much competition to get people's attention. So we'll talk about that next week, and then we'll also go over some technical, like, protocols and stuff the week after that. We'll do practices. So Bree, I see you on now. I don't know if you saw I used your earrings in our PowerPoint, but I'm glad you could join us. And I haven't even seen who was on here. So anyway, thank you all for joining us. And if you have questions, do email me.
Will do. For sure. Thanks.
Cool. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.